What if football wasn't just a game, but a gladiator arena where chaos and courage rule the pitch? Where tactics take a back seat, defenders turn into warriors, and the midfield becomes a jungle of pure mayhem. Welcome to Haramball, the wild, unfiltered philosophy that refuses to play safe. It's not about pretty passes or thousand-touch build-ups. It's about intensity, grit, and running harder than someone late for their flight. Today, we're diving into the madness and ranking the top 5 Haramball managers who turned chaos into an art form. These are the coaches who don't just manage teams, they unleash primal energy on the pitch. So, buckle up, because we're about to celebrate football's most beautifully unhinged tacticians. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and fans absolutely love it. By the end of this video, you'll understand who mastered the chaos, who weaponized it, and who just about survived it. Let's start with the man who practically defined modern Haramball, Jurgen Klopp. The German mad scientist of football turned relentless pressing into both an art and a religion. His philosophy is simple: lose the ball, win it back faster than your opponent can blink. Klopp's teams don't rest, they hunt. His Borussia Dortmund side of the early 2010s felt like a tornado tearing through the Bundesliga, all heart, speed, and sweat. Then came Liverpool, where Klopp transformed a once-broken team into European champions. Remember that 4-0 comeback against Barcelona in 2019? That wasn't tactics. That was pure, uncut Haramball energy. Klopp's players would run through walls for him, and occasionally each other. He made pressing fashionable, chaos efficient, and emotion a tactical weapon. His football burns with a kind of madness that's hard to replicate. Even after he left Liverpool after the end of 2023-24 season, Klopp's legacy remains. Not just trophies, but an entire generation of managers inspired to play with heart instead of hesitation. Now, if Klopp was the high priest of Haramball, then Marcelo Bielsa was the philosopher who wrote the scriptures. The man nicknamed El Loco, the crazy one, isn't just a coach, he's a way of life. Bielsa's football is chaos disguised as order. His teams press like maniacs, his fullbacks turn into forwards, and his midfielders cover more ground than Google Maps. At Leeds United, he turned average players into relentless warriors, earning promotion to the Premier League with football so intense it made the Championship look like a war zone. Sure, they sometimes collapsed in the second half, but when Bielsa's system clicked, it was poetry in motion, just written entirely in capital letters. You can almost imagine the B-roll here, Bielsa squatting on the touchline, scribbling notes, yelling tactical instructions that sound like riddles. His approach wasn't about winning every game, it was about making sure every game felt like a life or death mission. Players loved him, fans worshipped him, and analysts couldn't quite decide if he was a genius or a madman. The truth? He was both. Bielsa didn't invent Haramball, but he injected it with caffeine and burned the manual. Then there's Diego Simeone, the man who turned organized chaos into a defensive religion. You might be thinking, Simeone? Defensive? How does that fit in? But make no mistake, his Atletico Madrid side played with Haramball intensity, just aimed in the opposite direction. Where Klopp's chaos is all-out attack, Simeone's is survival of the fittest. Every tackle feels personal. Every counter-attack feels like revenge. Watching Atletico under Simeone is like watching a street fight choreographed by a general. Since taking over in 2011, he's built a culture that prioritizes heart, unity, and sheer willpower over elegance. He's turned players like Griezmann, Coca, and Savic into soldiers of footballing attrition. Simeone in his black suit, fists clenched, roaring at the crowd after a 1-0 win that felt like a 90-minute war, was a sight to behold. He's been accused of being too negative, too defensive, too gritty, but that's exactly the point. Haramball isn't supposed to be pretty, it's supposed to make you feel alive. Simeone's mantra, play every match as if it's your last, could be printed on the Haramball flag. In an age of sterile tactics, he brought emotion back into football. Now let's talk about Antonio Conte, the Italian perfectionist with the heart of a berserker. If Klopp is fire and Bielsa is chaos, Conte is controlled fury. Every one of his teams plays like they're fueled by adrenaline and anger. His Chelsea side stormed to the Premier League title in 2017 using the 3-4-3 formation like a weapon, blending relentless pressing with counter-attack precision. At Inter Milan, he broke Juventus's decade-long dominance of Serie A by turning a solid team into a relentless machine. Conte doesn't just coach, he commands. He shouts, gestures, and occasionally looks like he's about to jump onto the pitch and score himself. Everybody saw him screaming on the sideline, ripping into referees, and celebrating goals like a man possessed. Players under Conte either thrive or implode, there's no middle ground. But when they buy in, his teams run like synchronized chaos. He's the tactical equivalent of a symphony performed with power tools. His obsession with discipline and intensity makes him the most structured Haramball manager on this list. The guy who builds chaos but color codes it. Of course, no discussion of Haramball would be complete without the wildcard, Thomas Tuchel. The German tactician is like the scientific cousin of Klopp. While Klopp uses passion, Tuchel uses algorithms. But don't be fooled. When Tuchel's teams hit their stride, they play with Haramball tempo and tenacity. At Chelsea, he took a struggling side and turned them into Champions League winners in just a few months. His pressing system was precise, yet suffocating. His energy, infectious. And at Bayern Munich, his 2024-25 season saw an experimental blend of fluid attack and relentless defensive transitions. Tuchel's football is like controlled chaos inside a lab experiment that's about to explode. Tuchel is the smart Haramball manager. He embraces the philosophy but filters it through tactical depth. Where Klopp goes by gut, Tuchel goes by data. Yet at the core, both share the same heart: aggression, tempo, and never letting the opponent breathe. And now, for a curveball, the honorary mention who truly channels Haramball in the modern day, Roberto De Zerbi. The former Brighton manager has quietly become the next evolution of chaos ball. His sides play with energy, fearlessness, and creative unpredictability. They press, they overload, they improvise. De Zerbi has become a cult figure for fans who love risk. He's proof that Haramball can be beautiful if you know how to choreograph the chaos. Watching Brighton dismantle bigger clubs is like watching an underdog armed with fireworks. While not as explosive as Klopp or Bielsa, De Zerbi represents the next phase: precision chaos, the kind that makes you shout, "How are they doing this?" even when you already know the answer. Now that we've met our 5 Haramball icons, let's take a moment to compare them. The gladiators of modern football's madness. Klopp embodies passion. His football is human emotion turned into pressing patterns. Bielsa is the visionary, a prophet of movement who sacrifices results for ideology. Simeone is the war general, turning suffering into strategy, is the drill sergeant who weaponizes structure, and Tuchel is the tactician who turns emotion into engineering. Together, they form a spectrum of Haramball, from pure chaos to structured aggression. Each one proves that intensity can win matches, hearts, and sometimes entire leagues. Imagine all 5 of them in the same room. Klopp motivating the group, Bielsa drawing diagrams on the wall, Conte shouting over both of them, Simeone pacing like a general, and Tuchel quietly adjusting data on a laptop. That's the essence of Haramball. Passion meets intellect, chaos meets discipline. It's football with no filter, all raw energy and heart. So next time you see a player chase down a lost cause in the 90th minute, or a team press like their lives depend on it, remember, that's Haramball. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it's pure, and it's here to stay. Before you go, drop a comment. Who's your favourite Haramball manager? And which moment defines it for you? The Simeone fist pump, Klopp's 4-0 against Barcelona, or maybe Bielsa's fearless Leeds pressing chaos? Smash the like button if you love football played with heart, subscribe for more deep dives into football's most thrilling philosophies, and share this video with someone who still thinks tiki-taka is the only way to win.